This will be a chill stream. Maybe I'll do these every morning. I'm not sure. Mostly because I don't expect there to be anyone here um, at this time of day. Because, people are working, um, people are in school, as in college. So I thought, why not just do, a stream just in case one or two people shows up. Kitty, can you move? Sorry, that's my cat. She's not allowed to be in the room with me when I'm sleeping because now she wants to be everywhere with me. Because let's just say I have a condition that she worsens. But that's neither here nor there. Um, thank you to whoever just gave a like. I appreciate that. And you know what? Even if nobody answers this question, from now on, maybe I'll use these early streams to come up with a discussion topic. Oh, you took your like away. Well, it is what it is. C Blocks content. Hello, Michelle. HADHA. How are you? You love me? Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, I don't know who took their like away, but hey, it is what it is, right? You're Indian as in you're from India? Not that it matters. Um, so yeah, maybe I'll use these streams to uh well, in your picture I would say you're very pretty. Um Very cool. So yeah, since it's mainly just me talking to myself in these streams in the morning, more so than, well, I can't say that because I've had more than a few streams where one or two people were, oh, well, my mistake. I've had more than a few streams in which I've, gotten responses, or at least had people interact. But it's mostly just me talking to myself in the morning. So I think that, yeah, I'll kind of use this to talk to myself until I come up with an idea for later, for the stream later on. Now it is going to involve Tony Stark / Iron Man in some way. I was going to do a part 2 to that stream, talking about what if he lived past the events of Endgame by then going into how would his technology change. Every suit he's had is more advanced than the last. New one. Just because you asked. And so I was thinking, okay, well, what would it look like past Endgame? The thing is, in science fiction, or shall we say, loose science fiction, with fantasy elements in it, or kind of a mishmash of the two, nanotechnology tends to be the end all when it comes to things like superhero suits, or in this case, a suit of armor for a superhero, but you get the idea. So there's no going beyond that, really. I mean, if you still want to make it even 0.1% plausible that this can be a thing without delving into straight up fantasy. You could argue that what he showcased in Infinity War was very fantasy like. You know, weapons forming out of nowhere, seemingly, but attached to the suit in some way. The weird, I don't even know what you would call them. They looked like sheets of metal that detached and then fired a beam. It was almost like they were mirrors meant to reflect the blasts coming from his hands, but I still have literally no idea as to what was going on there. You saw a missile launcher or a missile or a rocket form on his shoulder on the spaceship. His hands kind of turned into hammers, right? And then the hammer part disappeared. But, what makes it more fantasy than science or even science fiction, well, definitely science fiction in this regard, is number one, we all know that nanobots are just very small robots that you can't see with the naked eye, right? They'd probably they'd definitely be smaller than ants. Maybe they'd be about as small as fleas. This is what I do on this channel, is I talk about Iron Man, and I do streams where I place him into other franchises. Because I wanted to get away from all the darkness in the world. My head is spinning enough as it is, and I just can't deal, so I need this for myself, and to hopefully entertain people. To de-stress as much as possible. So, okay. See you. Thanks for stopping on by. I thought it would have been clear as to what this channel was about based on the picture you see in the background there. I am a man. Uh, sorry. So, did you mean to Michelle who just left? I don't know. Maybe I'll get lucky. But um, there would only be a certain amount of them, right? Like anytime a nanobot is damaged, another has to take its place. And so, what happens when he forms a new weapon? When he requires more of them to, uh, basically build those hammers or whatever around his gauntlets, and then they disappear. Do they just um not break down, but did they break up, as in like separate and then go back in to the suit or back into the arc reactor housing unit? Um, and like it's granted, it's true that I'm no scientist. I don't understand nanotechnology. I'm sure there's an expert out there who could shed some more light on things, could, actually explain to me whether any of this is theoretically possible or not. Um, Especially the whole liquid metal thing, right? Like when he pushes the the housing unit, it seems to press in, um, and then it releases them all, and it looks like liquid metal to some extent. Um, but when he's building more um weapons or constructs that are outside of the suit, do they just break apart and then those nanorobots are destroyed? Nanobots are destroyed? I don't know what the correct term is, by the way. Nanomachines, nanobots, you get the idea. I know I should basically just shut up and accept it and be like, hey, this is the way it works. But, you know, that's harder to do with something that's science based than magic. Because magic, it has rules, but the rules aren't as strict. So, yeah, no idea, in all honesty. So, 1 second. Apologies for that silence there. Um, I had to do something. But yeah, I really don't know how that works. Anyway, so since I don't know how it works, even on a theoretical level, it's pretty much impossible to imagine what the suit would have looked like in, say, another movie, right? Like, yeah, after Endgame would have ended with Tony still being around, he would have been like, okay, that was my final mission. It's time to, hang up the coat, put it away, and live normally. Um, More normally than I've ever lived. But obviously, Tony's still Tony. He's going to keep upgrading his tech. He's going to have to, just in case. He's not going to be, an Avenger anymore, not a, It's kind of like going into retirement. Or semi-retirement. So he's still going to be a thing. But yeah, it's like, where do you go from there? Where do you go from there? I mean, the technology he has in Infinity War is so far beyond what is possible here that it almost seems like it came from the future. Which if I'm being honest, since they did time travel anyway in Endgame, I really feel like they should have used a time paradox to make that suit possible. To say that, I don't know, Tony lives and he goes into the future and he discovers nanotechnology from the future, from like 100 years in the future, and he takes that technology back with him and he builds that arc reactor slash housing unit, and that's how it gets the suit. That to me would have made a lot more sense, because every other armor he has is at least slightly plausible. Okay, you do have your problems with the G-forces, and a human body would never be able to survive flying in a suit like that, and blah, 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 blah. Not to mention the fact that, there'd be no pouting. No pouting. Wow, I don't know what is wrong with me and my brains. In my brain today. But, and there's no padding, right? There's no cushioning. So it's literally just metal around his entire body. Which means that if he gets hit, it's like his head's going to be pinballing back and forth inside of a metal helmet. I don't know how you came back. You just came back. It wasn't anything I did. So, that whole thing has never been realistic. I mean, I guess if I was in charge and writing the stories, I'd say it's just a stronger version of what he had in Endgame. And the amount of nano machines is not changed. Maybe they're I don't know, more durable. Maybe the weapons it can produce are more advanced, so the nano machines are smarter. Um, Maybe he builds another housing unit um, that's self-activating through his command. Um, I mean, I don't know how that will work because it would basically be floating there. How you gonna explain that? But I mean, maybe that could be something that would have been like an upgrade. It's just a second suit that he can control um, through the suit's AI, um, similarly to how he did in Iron Man 3, and just call in new suits when he needs them. I guess that's the only real like upgrade he could go with. Um, and then maybe the suits could like form together to build something even bigger. Um, I could go crazy and say maybe he invents teleportation technology and makes it so that the suit is capable of producing that effect so he can just teleport to certain places. Um, so, getting into Star Trek territory where um, the suit can be broken down into particles along with himself. Um, Maybe the suit can even act as a teleportation device and like teleport him out of that suit and back home. I kind of like the idea of Iron Man getting to a point to where he doesn't use missiles or guns of any type. He doesn't have weapons that come out of the suit, so to speak, and just builds like energy projectors of some sort that allow the suit to produce like an energy shield in the same way that the droidicas would in Star Wars. Or, and then for weapons, it's just like an energy field that can form around the suit for certain effects, like an energy shield around the fist to increase the force of a punch. Um, but then it can also fire. Um, I mean, heck, if ships in Star Wars and Star Trek can have these seemingly invisible shields that defend the ship from attacks, then why couldn't you have an invisible energy shield on an Iron Man suit that's more or less that, but he can actually take the energy of the shield and use it for attacking purposes too. I'm pretty sure there's been sci-fi movies or series where there was a ship that could more or less fire a destructive beam from like any part of its shell. Shell's not the word, but you know what I mean. The outside. I can even imagine him being able to fire something from where the eyes are. You know? So the nanotechnology is just there for repairing the suit and forming it, but not building new weapons. So the suit would last longer if it's just for healing purposes. And then the main weapon is just the repulsors. You could also say that since it's nanotechnology, you've got however many tiny robots that, when combined together, are capable of thinking to some extent, along with the onboard AI. And that can make it so that the suit kind of gives you a sort of spider sense. Like it can predict things before they happen more effectively. Maxim, how are you doing? Hello? Thank you to whoever has given me 2 likes. I appreciate that. So that's a very good question. I mean, I don't really know anything about AI, because obviously that's what Jarvis is. And he's obviously far more advanced than what we have, right? We know that he integrates Jarvis with the computer of every one of his suits, or at least copies him. I don't think Jarvis just, shall we say, turns on when he's using the suit and isn't able to also be there at the home at the same time. I don't think it's like, okay, Jarvis, you need to go away for a bit and be in the suit with me. So it's kind of built into the suit. In a weird way, Jarvis kind of is the suit. I believe they're like lenses. More akin to like, how do I put this? They function like goggles and scanners at the same time. That would be my best explanation for that. I guess in a weird way you can kind of compare it to Cyclops, where he's got the visor on and you can't see his eyes. Well, okay, that's a bad example maybe, but here's a better example. Think it's similar to Black Panther, where when he's got the suit on, he's got some kind of lenses built in, or he's got some kind of I cannot find the words to say what I want to say. Yeah, I guess think of them as like lenses. Okay, bye. But I heard that. Um, but I heard that. Um, Another thing, I could see that I would maybe give the suit in terms of capability is the ability to turn invisible. So make the suit like a Swiss Army knife, but without adding on, so to speak. And if you did have a sort of energy shield, right, that kind of, when activated, coated the suit almost like, an anime aura, but it's all. Actually, now that I think about it, he does have an energy shield in Endgame, which is just purely energy. So I guess that right there would have foreshadowed that if he, remained beyond Endgame, his next suit would definitely be one where he can take that energy shield and wrap it around the entire suit, um, and possibly even convert that energy for other purposes. Which, I guess to some extent people would find boring. They like to see all the different kinds of weapons he uses. But in terms of practicality, a suit that protects him, gives him, um, you know, a greater ability to, detect what's happening before it happens and avoid things is arguably more important than how many missiles and how many big, beam cannons can come out of the suit. Because now he's focusing on building an arc reactor that can produce more energy than those in the past, as well as obviously house all those nanomachines and power them too. And I guess the way to visualize it would be the suit would kind of, in a weird way, function like a Green Lantern ring, but not literally. It wouldn't have the ability to create everything he imagines, but like think back on his holographic technology, right? When he could, create holographic images and move them around. Think that, but like as energy constructs. I think that would have been like his penultimate armor suit is the nanomachines with holographic technology being advanced so much that it can literally form um, constructs like barriers and projectiles. Maybe he could even use that energy to assist him in flight. Um, so start working towards getting rid of the jets, right? The repulsors in the boots that are there for functioning like mini jet engines. Um, and I guess the final upgrade would be the ability to absorb energy from other sources, and then then you're done. Then it's just a matter of making the next one stronger than the last. Because the way I look at technology is that eventually you're going to get to a point to where there are no more big discoveries. It won't happen for God only knows how many centuries, but like, think of cars. Eventually, the technology for making cars better than they've ever been in the past is going to reach a point to where it can't advance anymore, and now you're just making it, better. Like you're making um, the car safer, right? Like every new car has a screen on it. That's like a mini computer screen. And then you have other cars that flat out do have what looks like a laptop, that looks like a laptop screen, or looks like a piece of smart glass. Well, no, it looks like a laptop screen. Um, you know, all you're going to be able to do with those vehicles going forward is make them able to drive for longer periods of time on a single charge. Um, so that means better batteries, um, batteries that last longer. Um, a car that has an onboard assistant which is smarter and can do more. Like if you get into an accident, it can call 911. Working towards making it so that if the car is damaged, the onboard assistant can still function. Um, and that's honestly pretty much it. Um, and then of course, making it so that the car can take over if for whatever reason the driver is incapable of driving, or maybe the driver needs to go to sleep, needs to like rest for a bit on a long road trip, and the car just takes over for a bit. Um, but once you reach those points, there's not really much more you can do to go beyond that, outside of building what would essentially be a land speeder, which is pretty much a vehicle that floats a little bit above the ground and, can, I guess, basically go over any kind of terrain, even travel across water. But then that is literally the end. Um, Not goal, but like the final. Um, I hesitate to say finish line, but I think you know what I mean. Also, hi, Kel Sweeney. Thank you to whoever just helped to bring the stream to 3 likes. Even look at military technology, right? Look at weapons. Um, the next big step for military weapons would be probably in 100 years, if I had to guess. Swapping all um like of those big guns out for what are basically those the phasers that you would see on Star Trek ships and the weapons you'd see on a Star Wars ship. But then they would still have missiles, and the missiles would be even more destructive um, than the last. And they would do this for two reasons. One, as weird as this is going to sound, make the weapons cleaner. So they, like only really destroy the target that they're targeting and nothing around it. And a beam being quite literally light that's focused is not gonna necessarily do what a shell would do. I imagine that's what those cannons fire are essentially like what's akin to like the shell that shoots from a cannon on a tank. I'm all right. Thank you for the 4 likes. And so yeah, it's more focused. Like think about laser surgery, right? How that in a way is arguably more accurate than a scalpel because it's a focused beam. If you apply that to a weapon and you shoot it, number one, it's going to be faster than a bullet would be. There's not going to be any reloading outside of exchanging a cartridge for another that I guess stores the energy needed to produce the ammunition that it fires. Um, and you're good to go. You're bringing it back to Iron Man. Look at his repulsors, right? They are a type of energy weapon. Now, they're concussive, more so concussive in nature than heat based. A friend of mine explained to me how they would theoretically work. I just can't remember. Um, I mean, they are heat based, but the focus is not on producing heat. It's on producing something more akin to a concussive force than flat out just like incinerating everything. Um, and at that point, you're just messing with light for different reasons. Affecting the concentration of the light to do different things, like a focused beam that can cut through things, a big, a beam that's more like like a cannon blast. So yeah, I think you get the idea. And weirdly, that would make the weapons less likely to cause collateral damage, I think would be the idea. I believe that's also the reason why drone warfare is going to become the norm in the future because less collateral damage, you can, go after specific targets and deal with them and not have to wipe out buildings. And that's kind of how I look at Iron Man. Right? Because he went from building, missile systems for the military to making a roboticized suit of armor that effectively was served the same purpose as a drone. Fly on in, take out your targets without blowing up an entire city, right? And I do believe that going forward, as I said earlier, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to not respond to you. Pop Culture Fresh 2000, everyone, if you don't know him, he has been a friend of mine for a very long time. I don't remember exactly. It's probably close to 10 years at this point. Might even be a bit over that. He has a channel as well. He's working towards 900 subs. So if you would consider checking out his channel and just seeing what he's all about, I know we would both appreciate that. I just reached 300, and there will be a celebration stream for that at some point. Not sure when, but we'll work on that, and he will definitely be there for it. As do I you. You'll forgive me if I'm talking like a bit of a robot right now. I'm kind of in thought mode. It's funny how this was supposed to be a chill stream, and I still ended up talking about what I was saying that I wasn't sure how I was going to talk about, which was what an Iron Man suit would have looked like going forward had Tony survived. What day is Wednesday? Or, okay, what day is the 23rd? Is that Thursday? Because the only day I'm not available this week is the 23rd, and I think that's Thursday. So yeah, Wednesday or Friday it would have to be. I mean, depending on when we do it, but I've got plans on the 23rd. I just don't know when. More towards the evening time. I mean, it depends, because my mother's going to be, I assume, coming home tonight. I almost want to say let's, like, do the stream outside. Like, depending on the weather. I could go to that little playground. What? Playground. What in the world was I trying to say there? We could go to that little playground area that's close to where I live and have the stream there. I would, put on my headphones and I mean, you say that as if these streams aren't always in real life. What are you trying to say? That this is all not real? That, you know, I'm not actually here? I may, maybe I am AI. Perhaps AI has secretly progressed to the point to where what you're seeing is AI, and the person I'm pretending to be is asleep. Maybe I've replaced him. Maybe in a few seconds you're going to see my eyes turn red and this skin fall away to reveal a metal shell. And then you're going to hear my voice become metallic. And I'm going to say, scanners have discovered your location. Pop culture with Fresh 2000. We are now pursuing. You know, what's funny is there are people who would believe that. They'd come on here and say, oh my god, he is an AI. Oh my god, he's a robot. He just said it. I get you, though. Like, on a really nice day, I mean, it would use up all of my data, but I would love to do like a park stream. You know, that would be amazing to do. But who knows? Maybe. Maybe if I get to a point in which this channel gets ad revenue, that could be a thing, which wouldn't happen for, God, at best 5 to 6 months from now. More likely at least another year. I mean, I think it is possible to reach 1,000 subs in 5 to 6 months. It's likely, but it's not. It's possible, but I won't say it's likely. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, as I continue to do more, yeah, but you don't have to do as much. Like, you're a lot closer to it than I am. But yeah, I get what you mean. I mean, realistically though, in all honesty though, if I knew someone that had like 100,000 subs, and they brought me on their channel, and the people liked me, I'd probably get to 1,000 in a day. Like, that can happen. It's very unlikely. Like, I'll give you an example. There's this guy who has a channel. He's a former Black Panther, and in like a day or so, he shot up. He shot up way beyond 10,000 subs. Um, and then there's this channel that's run by actors who were stars in one of the Star Trek series, and their channel was only around for days, and it went to like 100K in like seemingly no time at all. So again, if you know the right people, that can happen. Look at Jack Black. When he made a YouTube channel, in like 24 hours, he went, I want to say, beyond 1 million subs. um, I mean, I do know somebody who's on his way to 2,000 subs. It doesn't mean that it's gonna, get me to 1,000, but like as he keeps going, if he makes it to like 5,000, so on and so forth, and eventually 10, shout out from him might actually bring me to 1,000 subs. You never know. If I was still talking about political stuff and it wasn't stressing me out, and I was able to keep myself focused, it's possible that this bigger channel that has I believe 100,000 subs or more would have reached out to me just because I'm associated with somebody who they had on one of their streams, and that would have probably brought me up to at least a couple hundred more subs, if not 200 more subs. But that's neither here nor there. I think I know what I'm going to do for my stream tonight at 5. Yeah. It's going to be an easier stream because this is something that has actually happened in the comics before. Which is, there was a time when Tony Stark actually became the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but if you think about it, it kind of makes sense, right? Actually, I'm pretty sure Captain America was also director of S.H.I.E.L.D. at one point, as in the original one, Steve Rogers. Um, but in the MCU, I'm not sure if this is if it's this way in the comics, but in the MCU, as we know, Howard Stark was one of the founding members of S.H.I.E.L.D., right? And Nick and Tony, while they're not friends, they have like a close working relationship. And Tony is kind of seen as like the true leader of the Avengers because he builds all the tech, and it's assumed that he provides every one of the weapons that those who need weapons. That was a poorly worded sentence. It seems implied that he builds any of the new weapons that you would see Black Widow, Hawkeye, and Captain America's. Um, I forget what it was. It was a wrist mounted device that basically used a magnet to bring the shield back to him. Pretty sure that would have been built by Tony, and he basically says like, no, he like, remember that scene in Age of Ultron where Hill says to him, it calls him boss, and he says, oh no, Captain America is the boss. I just fund everything and build everything. But really, Like, the way to look at it is Tony was the true leader of the Avengers. Think of it in the same way as that Justice League series from the early 2000s. Superman was the leader of the Justice League, but the behind the scenes leader of the Justice League was Batman. It's that kind of deal. They basically co-led the team, even though Captain America was more like, how do I put this? The commander, and Tony was more like the overseer. I mean, it also makes sense to have Captain America as the leader of the Avengers because he's quite literally a soldier with so much experience. He did achieve the rank of captain. He wasn't called Captain America just, for fun. He did achieve the rank of captain, Captain Steve Rogers, right? Um, so I mean, if it wasn't for that name, you could argue that he realistically would have achieved ranks higher than captain. Like, after the events of Avengers alone, he probably should have been promoted to the rank of colonel, right? Um, but he was primarily an agent of Shield, although they still called him Captain Rogers. Um, but you get my point. Um, why did I say that again? I completely forgot. I hate it when that happens. It got away from me. It very much got away from me. Wow. That's embarrassing. Oh, right. Duh. Tony Stark being director of Shield. Oh, no, no, no. I'm honestly, I just wasn't paying attention. Don't take that the wrong way. Um, that was a fun read. I unfortunately don't remember too much of it because nothing of consequence was really happening. But yeah, he was Tony Stark as director of Shield. He was a more hands-on director because obviously he's still Iron Man. So like he would basically go on every mission with them. And he could also kind of keep tabs on everything using the onboard computer in his suits. So yeah, and weirdly, you could kind of argue that while he didn't have the title, he was kind of like an unofficial director of Shield in Civil War because like Secretary Ross um kind of put him up to running things, right? It gave him certain like privileges, right? Like, and Stark Tech, I'm sure, was used to build that underwater prison, right? The prison that can go underwater. So yeah, he kind of did function as a sort of unofficial director of Shield, even though Shield was pretty much not a thing anymore. Um, that's something that I always that I find I used to not like about Marvel, but I now kind of find intriguing is that when you look at the Justice League, they're an entirely self-governed entity, right? They are governed mainly by themselves, and they do obey, the laws, but they're not under the command of the president or under the command of the military. But then you look at the Avengers, and they are pretty much literally a part of S.H.I.E.L.D. without being called S.H.I.E.L.D., which basically makes them a government, well, obviously a government organization, part of a government organization, but basically makes them an elite team of soldiers. If you think about it, they are basically military, because they work for S.H.I.E.L.D., and S.H.I.E.L.D. is intelligence, but it's also a military organization. Um, because S.H.I.E.L.D. does take part in missions that involve getting rid of threats. They're like the CIA and special forces mixed into one. And obviously, one of their founding members was a colonel. Um, Tommy Lee Jones's character, if you'll recall, is shown on a wall of Shield founders. Who wins in a battle, Nick Fury or Black Widow? Black Widow. In the comics, Nick Fury more or less, I think, has something similar to Captain America, that sort of super soldier serum. But Black Widow is a trained assassin. That's her specialty, right? She's always gone on missions that involve the silencing of targets. And he's obviously, in the position of command, and he's going to get rusty, right? Um, Now, I couldn't tell you what a quote unquote prime Nick Fury, versus Black Widow would look like. But yeah, in a straight up fight, unless we're talking like they have access to the resources they would otherwise have, if it's a straight up fight, it's got to be Black Widow. I mean, there's a reason why she's part of the Avengers team and he isn't. That's not a bad idea, but as you know, I will at some point be commissioning somebody to create a profile image for me, so that when I do this, people won't see Iron Man. They'll see something that is similar to Iron Man, but incorporates is basically like my I don't want to say my Iron Man, my own personal Iron Man design, but incorporates aspects of another character. And I'm not sure how that's going to go, but we'll see. Like, for starters, as the name Black Angel would suggest, the picture will basically be a black Iron Man suit, but it'll look like, you know, one that I designed personally. Um, and of course, be different enough to not, you know, look literally like Iron Man. I just don't know how that's how easy it would be to incorporate what I want into that image without it looking goofy. But we'll see. Yeah, when I have the money to, I'll reach out and discuss prices because I know that when you commission something, you don't want to wait. Um, you don't want to wait, and I can only visualize so much in my head. I don't even know what my price range is. That's the thing. But I'll probably go on Fiverr and see. It won't be until at least I'm thinking June when I would actually do that. So yeah, my 5 o'clock stream I think is gonna be what if Tony was director of Shield in the MCU? I agree. Like part of that stream will be discussing when would he become director of Shield? Why would he become director of Shield? Um, I imagine it would have to tie in with Winter Soldier, right? Because Nick Fury at that point was pretty much on his way out as director of Shield. I'm aware of the fact that in the Agents of Shield series, they do get a new director of Shield. If I'm not mistaken, two that are not Nick Fury. But those are the movies, right? So a lot of that would have to be ignored or changed. It would also mean that Robert Downey Jr. would have had to have been in more movies than just Avengers, the Iron Man films, and Captain America: Civil War. Like he would have had to have shown up later on in Winter Soldier. Which, by the way, that's an idea for another stream that I just thought of. You know, it might not be enough for a stream. I'm just going to say it here. If you remember what the plot line was for Winter Soldier, how S.H.I.E.L.D. was going to build all these carriers to take out a certain percentage of people, which is a lot like what Thanos was trying to do, but for different reasons. You honestly expect me to believe that Hydra would have been able to pull that off? I mean, when it comes to Tony Stark. Because, like, at that point, he was using the Mark 6 or 7. And we all saw how well that performed against the Chitauri army, right? As soon as he would have spotted those aircraft carriers, he probably, number one, would have been up to the Mark 8 at that point. A more powerful suit of armor than he had previously. and would have just decimated those carriers along with War Machine. So their plan to get rid of certain potential threats to themselves, as well as create a world of freedom by sacrificing like 20 million, is honestly pretty stupid and short-sighted. Like, I'm watching that movie the other day, and they're talking about Doctor Strange, and I'm like, you really think you're gonna be able to take out Doctor Strange? Oh, well, it was a chill stream, but then I started talking about things, and now I've moved on to speaking about what to me is a major plot hole of sorts in Winter Soldier. If you don't remember, in Winter Soldier, Hydra shield, shall we say, their whole plan was to wipe out 20 million to save billions through some means, and build like a and have these not aircraft carriers, but these airships, basically open fire on a set number of people to achieve that purpose, and then also be able to take out potential individuals who could threaten their rule and their, their goals. And the whole time I'm watching it, I'm like, first of all, you really think these ships that Tony was involved partially in the designs of would threaten Tony Stark, the same dude who carried a nuke into space and survived, who did considerable damage to an alien army that had technology probably more advanced than what SHIELD had, and probably still does. You severely underestimate Tony Stark and what his Iron Man suits are capable of. Alexander Pierce was a total moron, as was Arnim Zola. And all the rest, thinking that they could, once we get rid of Captain America, I turned it off because I'm moving around now, and I mostly don't show my face. Sorry about that. Yeah, a really stupid plan. I mean, I get it. They're the bad guys. They're supposed to be like egotistical and stupid, because if they're too smart, if they're too calculating, if they're too on the ball, then they win. But again, you had been planning this for like decades, and you started with getting rid of Tony Stark's family, his parents, and you took Bucky and made him your soldier, basically. And you had these giant airships, and you spent years slowly integrating members of Hydra into SHIELD to basically turn it into Hydra over time. And you really thought that you would be able to use these ships to threaten freaking Iron Man. Like, are you kidding me? It honestly almost makes me wish that Winter Soldier ended with Cap losing his life, because now I would have liked to have seen a really ticked off Tony Stark going out for revenge against Hydra. Seriously, imagine that movie happening. Like, Tony finds out they did all this. He actually sees one of those airships like kind of flying towards his home, and he's like, he just goes ballistic. And let's not forget, SHIELD's plan was to take care of every threat. That includes not only Doctor Strange, but Hulk and Thor. Did you not see what happened in New York when they fought that alien army? And, like, what Thor, who had, by the way, been stabbed by his brother, he fought those aliens and like pretty much no problem. Like they were no threat to Thor, Hulk, and to a lesser extent Tony. They mopped the floor with them. So yeah. Had you succeeded in silencing Captain America and Nick Fury, you would have had a seriously angry Tony Stark, at the very least, coming at your front door. I mean, it's Tony Stark. Literally, at that point, the smartest person in the MCU. Right? Like, far more intelligent than Hydra scientists, obviously. That'd be like the government trying to come after. Okay, well, Batman's not a good example. A better example. The only thing worse than coming after Tony Stark would be trying to come after T'Challa, because T'Challa is the king of an entire country that uses advanced technology on the daily. And you're all, and he probably would have been on that list too. And I'm like, wait. Now I'm thinking, okay, so not only did you think that this plan of yours was going to take care of Tony Stark, now Iron Man, which, by the way, if that was your plan, you probably should have done it. And I know this is going to sound incredibly dark, but you probably should have done it when he was not Iron Man yet. You probably should have done it when he was in college or maybe younger. But no, you let this dude form a reputation for himself, get an education, and honestly, in a way, make himself sort of invincible to you. And Stephen Strange, you should have gotten rid of before he learned magic. Because when he learned magic, he was untouchable. By the end of that first movie, that first Doctor Strange movie, he would have been untouchable. Um, and Hulk, don't get me started on Hulk. Like, the only contingency you would have had for Hulk would have been if you brought in Red Hulk from the comics and put him in the MCU back then. But you didn't do that. So yeah, Hydra are the biggest idiots in the MCU. And whenever I watch Winter Soldier again and I see that scene, the tension that's supposed to be there is going to be completely deflated. Because I'm just going to laugh and say, you morons thought that you could threaten Tony Stark with your stupid plan. Like, oh my god. Has anyone here seen the early 2000s Justice League series? Actually, it would have been Justice League Unlimited. When Cadmus becomes part of the story, and Amanda Waller, who I'm sure you know, and I know that Fresh 2000 here knows exactly what I'm talking about. She gets up for her morning routine. She's in the shower. She goes to grab a towel, and And Batman hands it to her. And she gets out of the shower and she's shocked to see that he's there and even knew how to find her. And he basically like threatens her. And she reveals that she knows that he's Bruce Wayne, but he says, "Okay, well then I guess we'll both come out into the spotlight together." I don't know if you've seen that, but that scene right there was Batman basically saying, "You can't threaten me, but I can threaten you." It's worse with Tony Stark, whose suit is literally a weapon all the time. He's quite literally a one-man army that he's wearing. I honestly even more than a one-man army, like a one-man Air Force, and army. So silly, so silly, so silly. And a missed opportunity. I wish they would have paid Tony Stark, or Tony, wow, forgetting the actor's name. I wish they would have paid Robert Downey Jr. to have like one scene in that where he finds out what's going on and he's like, "You messed with the wrong person." Like just a cameo of Iron Man flying in, landing there and being like, "Cap, you need assistance?" And I don't think Tony would have said it in this exact way, but because these morons don't know who they're messing with. And then Cap could be like, "Nah, I'm fine, but if I need your support later, I know who to contact." And then maybe he just like threateningly stands there in the suit, and you have all of Shield like, "Oh my God, it's Iron Man!" Ah! I don't know what vibe coder means. Sorry. But I love those moments. I really do. I love those moments when the villains are... They're not so much beaten by their ego, but they're also beaten by their stupidity. And I mean, these guys couldn't take Captain America, who I'm not trying to say isn't skilled, but this is a dude who... wrecked so much of your forces himself. And he's nowhere near as powerful as Tony is in the Iron Man suit that he has at the point of wait. Did Winter Soldier come after the first Avengers movie? It did, didn't it? I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure it came out and takes place after the first Avengers movie, which means that Tony at that point would no longer have been using the suit with the triangle arc reactor. Right. And I know he in some movies he goes like 3 or 4 marks beyond the previous one you see, so I don't want to say that the suit he's using in the beginning of Age of Ultron is what he would have had in the time that Winter Soldier was taking place. Oh, wait a minute, that wouldn't make sense because Iron Man 3 hadn't happened. But anyway, my point still stands. And I mean, even at his lowest in Iron Man 3, when they destroyed his house, they still couldn't take him down. That wasn't that wasn't Shield, that wasn't Hydra, but like even at his weakest, they couldn't beat him. the only one who came so close to taking Tony down was Thanos, but that makes sense because it's Thanos. I mean, Thanos was a threat that Tony didn't know about, so he couldn't have prepared for him. But he doesn't need to worry about Shield when, I mean, he's already considered the possibilities, right? He's already again seen those airships that they had built. He already knows the weapons that you have access to. I mean, just so stupid. And speaking of stupid, well, I don't want to say stupid because this is insulting to people. This would be insulting to people. I want to talk about Civil War for a brief period, a brief point, for a little bit at least. To those who would watch that final fight scene and say, "Oh, that proves that, Tony couldn't beat Captain America and Bucky at the same time." Are you kidding me? Did you not see how he was emotionally conflicted? If Tony wanted to take them out, he could have. Probably easily. Because, I mean, at this point, he's got a much more advanced suit than what he had in Avengers. And Cap is, like, is pretty much the only, subhuman Avenger who won't get stronger than he already is. Because even Hulk, like, you know how it goes with him, right? The angrier he gets, the stronger he gets. But, and we know that his Iron Man suits basically had, like, all sorts of attack plans in the computer to deal with him, and he could even basically have his onboard AI, like, predict and come up with a successful plan of attack to deal with Cap. So I was like, yeah, that I can't believe people honestly think that Cap and Bucky wouldn't have been completely steamrolled by Tony in that fight. Like, he, at that point in time, is, in terms of the original Avengers only, the third strongest. Quite easily. I think they look at that scene where he's trying to shoot the missile and doesn't. It's like, no. That was clearly showing that he's trying not to. He's having second thoughts. He's not actually trying to take out Bucky. Again, he's conflicted. He knows that Bucky didn't really do it. He was brainwashed, right? So it was him, but it wasn't him. He knows that, Cap is aware of this, and he didn't tell him because, he thought that if Tony knew, he'd go ballistic, and he was trying to protect him too. Like, he knows all that. And Tony doesn't lose control. There's been instances where He's always been pretty good at controlling his emotions. I mean, think about every single fight he's been in. He's always displayed a degree of self control, which is hilarious given the fact that he's an alcoholic. But hello, Miss McCoy. How are we doing today? And you can throw out your oh, you're just saying that because you're biased about Iron Man. No, I love Cap. Um, I remember you. I just don't know if I remember you from yesterday. Um, because I mean, I talk to a lot of people sometimes. That's what happens. Oh, right. I remember now. Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. Well, my friend and I are planning to watch at least a couple of episodes of it after we finish Bleach: The Thousand Year Blood War arc. I thought it would be a better experience if I watched it with someone who also hasn't seen it yet. Uh, and he's actually talked me into checking out Chainsaw Man with him, which I was initially against, but I'll like if someone I know wants to watch it with me, and it's him, like okay, I'll at least give it a few. I'll at least give it, I don't know, a certain number of episodes and then see what it's all about. What's REZE movie? Also, thank you for the 5 likes. I don't know who just left a fifth, but I really do appreciate that. Uh, is that a prequel to the anime? And um, okay, so it's a prequel. All right. This is gonna sound like a stupid question, but is it canon? Like, is it a prequel in the same sense that episodes 1, 2, and 3 are prequels to the original Star Wars trilogy? Because if it is, then I feel like he and I could just watch the anime first, assuming we both like it, um, and watch the movie after. Um, Unless it's a prequel that makes sense of some things that would otherwise be confusing. Okay. Um, I told him I want to check out Psychopaths as well. I think that's the one I'm thinking of. Where it's basically the story goes that they have a way to tell when someone's going to commit a crime before they do, and they can stop them um, from ever being able to commit that crime. That one interests me a lot. I also still need to continue watching Bastard. My friend and I had started the Netflix series, but we never continued it. Okay. Oh, nice. Because I'm gonna be honest, I probably said this yesterday, but newer series just don't entice me for some reason, and I can't put my finger on it. It could be nostalgia. It could be because I'm from a much older generation. That's always a thing. It's the same thing with music. Um like older generations don't like certain kinds of music. For me, I really don't care for artists like Billie Eilish, or is it Eilish, however you pronounce her name. Nothing against her personally. I just don't care for her music. I don't like Lady Gaga's music. I don't like Taylor Swift's a different case. But yeah, I don't like most new artists because of the way that music has changed. Um from how it was. Um like there's a lot more auto tune. There's more usage of like computerized instruments, if that makes any sense, than just physically playing a guitar and the drums. They still do it, but it's got some add-ons which are artificial to me, and I don't care for that. Although that being said, there is an album from a favorite band of mine that incorporates a lot of electronic sounds, but I think the reason why I like that is because it wasn't what they were going to do forever. It was just them doing it as a one-time thing. Um, and it could also be bias because I like that band a lot. Although that being said, I don't know if you would put the Gorillas in the same vein as bands that use like auto tune and what I call like more not techno style but more like computerized style sounds. But while I'm not a huge fan of the Gorillas, I have liked one of their albums, which I owned in high school, which was I believe it was called Demon Days. Really like that album. Um, yeah, I've watched One Piece. I mean, I'm not watching it still, but I was for quite some time. I was actually a pretty big fan of One Piece until it fell off. Until it fell off. It fell off for me a lot. And that pretty much started towards the end of the Wano arc. Well, actually, no, it kind of started maybe in the middle of Wano, slightly, and it just grew more gradually over time. And then Egghead was pretty much the point where I was like, okay, this isn't for me anymore. I'm done. But I still stuck with Egghead, if I'm not mistaken. I might have like not seen some chapters of it. I feel like I read it all the way through though. And then we get to Elbaf, and I was like, okay, I really don't care anymore. I think it's possible that part of it could due to the fact that One Piece has been going on for so long, decades at this point, that I'm just like, can we please just end it already? Like, I want it to have a good ending. I don't want it to just end, but can you please just end it, Oda? Of course, I know Ace died. I'm well past the first half of the series. I will say something that's pretty controversial nowadays, though. In hindsight, I think Ace dying was one of the stupidest things to happen to One Piece. Maybe not one of, but it is dumb to me. Given what happens later, and that's all I'll say for the sake of spoilers. As you notice, I name dropped certain arcs, but I didn't go into specifics as to why I don't like parts or all of those arcs. I don't think it's a spoiler to say Wano arc, Egghead, and Elbath at all. I might watch Invincible at some point. I don't know. Sometimes it's funny. I love horror, but for some reason, in certain animated series, I don't care for excessive amounts of like blood and other imagery. And Invincible has that in spades. And I don't know. I think it depends on how it's animated. But yeah, I really don't care for that. Um, like it seems to get on the same level as The Boys, and The Boys goes a little bit too far for me. To where I flat out had to like close my eyes or turn my head during certain scenes. Which will not be discussed on this stream because while it's not for kids, this is not an SFW friendly YouTube. Or at least not when, you have a small channel. Nah, that's fine. Yeah, One Piece used to be a big one for me. But I've kind of lost almost all my love for it. I still like talking about it and like possibilities and things that I think could have been done better and things that I wish were changed entirely, but beyond that, for me, peak One Piece died during the Wano arc. I feel like people throw the word peak around because they just enjoy it, but they don't really know what peak actually means. And that is not a criticism of you, by the way. Um, people have differing opinions on things. It's just objectively speaking, One Piece is not as good as it used to be. From a writing perspective. I have not seen. What was the last season of The Boys I saw? 3? Yeah, I think it was 3. So I haven't seen 4 or 5. I'm waiting on that because there are things happening in the real world that The Boys would just trigger the heck out of me. So for my own mental health, I kind of need to stay away from The Boys. until we hopefully get into a period of time where things are much saner. Because the boys is very politics heavy, and I can't have my head submerged in that. Kaisen9182. Hello, welcome to the stream. I'm actually surprised that the stream's gone this long. Maybe I'll try to do it for this amount of time every day of the week. Well, as you can see in the image, which is Iron Man, that's pretty much all I talk about. I think I did know that, Gojo. Hopefully it didn't end on a cliffhanger. Where am I from? What do you mean, in terms of country or in terms of state? I want to remind everyone to not post certain things. I don't want to get this channel potentially flagged. I don't know if that can happen because of posts made in the chat. But do be careful. United States. If I could just recommend something, wait until 2028 at least. 2029 at least. Please, because I don't know if you're aware of this, but unfortunately, this country is not really safe for visitors from other countries. And I know I don't talk about this stuff anymore, but while I'm not trying to suggest that everyone who comes here will have this happen to them, I don't want to see people who did nothing wrong get deported and sent to a place like El Salvador. I really don't. It's bad enough that citizens here are being grabbed up and sent to facilities that they should not be in and treated inhumanely. But yeah, that's happening here. It's infuriating. It's disgusting. It's foul. It's evil. Now, luckily, there is some justice being brought. Like, certain people are being looked into, and certain people I think they are in the process of arresting certain individuals. So, you know, that's happening. But Yeah, I don't think it's safe here. I mean, it's not safe for us, in all honesty. It's not completely unsafe, but it's a lot less safe than it was 4 years ago. A lot less. And that goes for everyone. It's crazy here. I mean, nowhere near as bad as Russia, thank God, and I don't think we'll ever get even close to as bad as that. Um, but it's pretty scary. It's caused me a lot of anxiety. It's really messed with my head. Um, I hate it here. I truly hate it here. Yeah, getting a little bit too personal there with the asking about my name. Not that it would tell you anything, because, even if I gave you my first name, you're not going to be able to look me up. And my name has actually been said in streams before, on another channels, and probably other channels in general. So you know what? There's no harm. My first name is Lonnie. Heck, I could even tell you the state I live in, and you wouldn't be able to find me unless you know the area and you actually somehow know me or have enough information about me to look me up. So yeah, name's Lonnie. I just find it odd that people want to know my first name because it's like, what do you get out of that? Like, that's cool. If I might ask, Kaisen, what country are you from? No, actually, your English is not bad. To be completely honest with you, there's plenty of people here that have worse English than you. I don't think he's ruining the economy. I know he's ruining the economy. He is a moron, first and foremost. And I mean that. He is a moron who is dumber now than he's ever been because he's much older. His mental faculties are failing him. Uh, and he's a very sick man, physically speaking. He is very ill. He's not doing so good. I wouldn't even want to know. I mean, what are you from North Korea? Like, look, I don't care if you're from North Korea. I mean, first of all, if you're from North Korea, I don't see how you'd even be in this chat because that's quite literally a country where the people are just treated like literal dogs, worse than dogs. Um, oh, well, why would you be afraid about mentioning India? Mentioning India? You could say you're from China, and I'd be like, that's awesome. I'd really give you props if you said you were from Hungary because if you heard about what happened with Orban, yeah, they got rid of that dude. He's gone. They're gonna be in for some great changes. And I mean like in a positive sense. Great changes. That's amazing news for us cuz that means that we can eventually get rid of this moronic um geezer in our White House in time. And yeah, he did bomb Iran for no reason. That's why the military is basically like, yeah, we're not for this. We don't agree with this. We're speaking out against this. Generals are speaking out against this. This man is not having a good time. And when he's eventually out of that office, everyone is going to jail. Forever. I'm sorry to hear that that's happened to you, Kaizen. That's awful. You should never be mean to people from other countries. And I'm guilty of this myself because a dear friend of mine has a friend who's from Russia, and I would get angry at times because of what's happening between them and Ukraine. But I recognize it's not his fault. I recognize that, he's just fallen for the propaganda for so many years. Obama coming back is a dream that I would love to become reality, but it's never going to happen. Not unless this maggot somehow does make it to 2029 despite all of his health conditions. And actually finds a way to run again. I mean, I don't see why not. Keep showing up at the streams and chatting, and yeah, in time, I'm sure that'll happen. Actually, I haven't spoken to him in a long time, but I had a friend from India. Well, not from, but from and living in India. Um, and he is a subscriber of mine, I believe, or he should still be. I can't remember what his name is. But yeah, we met on Discord through a server. And we would chat it up with about like One Piece and stuff. I got banned from Instagram, and even if I hadn't, I wouldn't be giving out that information. Sorry. Yeah, I got banned for a stupid reason. I got rid of TikTok because I found out that the dude that owns TikTok is a pal of our orange idiot. Um, yeah, I got banned from Instagram because I called a certain nutcase involved in politics and a nastier word for jerk that begins with an A and ends with a hole. Um, because he's very much extreme in his mindset. He pretty much helped to get this moron elected. Um, no, it's not Elon Musk, but I hate his guts. Okay. Well, first, since obviously I know that you're in a different time zone than I am because you're in India. You live in India. Um, by the way, I heard some great things that India has done, like in terms of like what is it like? I don't want to say green energy, but like that sort of stuff, and like in terms of I think it was like fighting pollution. Bravo, bravo! Like I really have to give your country like major props for that. Um, I think India was one of the countries that's doing that. Um, but so it's 11:03 where I'm at right now. Um, and I'll be doing another stream in about 6 more hours. Your grandma loves Trump? Well, my grandmother doesn't say she loves Trump, but she sure watches a lot of Fox News. She also didn't vote, but that's just as bad as voting for him. So, yeah. But a lot of people that went for the man are opening their eyes to the truth. Some of them are actually crying. And I hate to say it, but like I almost kind of want to laugh at them. It's awful that you know that so many bad things are happening to so many good people, but like you're crying and begging for forgiveness. No, no, you're no morons. You're not coming back into our circles because you've been hateful and you've literally supported a man who is nothing but hateful. An evil man. Can you come into my life at that at what time? At this time? Yeah, Gojo. It is. I don't know what you mean by come into my life. If you mean like, can you show up for the one later on today? Absolutely, you can. Everyone can. I just lost a like. I guess it must have been a Trump supporter. Sorry. But sooner or later, you're going to have to realize that that old bag of soot is about as smart as my left testicle, if not dumber. I could honestly out debate that man right now. Well, then somebody removed it. Must have been a Trumper. Or a dumper, as you know, I like to say sometimes. Because that man doesn't deserve the privilege of having a last name. He doesn't deserve that respect. He deserves as much respect as... Well, I don't see why not. I'll tell you what, I'll try to stream at least until this time tomorrow as well, so that you can be here. Plus, I've seen you here before, Kaizen. I'm pretty sure I've seen you before. Your name looks familiar to me. But I do want to make it clear that the focus of this channel is not to talk about anything political or anything, you know, in terms of the real world. It's to talk about fun stuff. Well, that's perfectly fine. Everyone is welcome, so long as you are considerate of others, and that's pretty much all I ask. I thank you so much for that, Gojo. It means a whole lot. Also, you said you're from Kentucky. I don't know a single thing about Kentucky, but happy to have you, fellow, I would say American, but I'm also aware of the fact that, you know, the United States is not the only part of America. It's not that way at all, but... what games do I play? Well... all I've really been playing for quite some time now is Diablo 2. But... I play a variety of games. Mainly action. Some platformers, though again, it's been a time since I last did that. But I mainly just play Diablo 2 now because there's a lot of stuff that I'm grinding for. Not too long ago, I did buy the Mega Man X collection, and I started that a few days ago or so, but got frustrated because I couldn't get past the beginning stage. So, you know, there's that. Yeah, I mean, new people show up at streams all the time and have questions, and there should never be a reason why they can't ask those questions, so long as it's nothing inappropriate. Ooh, I just got five likes. Someone left another like. So whoever that was, thank you for bringing me back up to 5. Awesome. I truly appreciate that. As you may have noticed, I've reached 300 subs, so the next goal will of course be to reach 400 in hopefully another month. So if there's anyone who you think might be interested in my streams or the content that I've created so far, feel free to, spread the word. And if not, that's cool too. I'm sure in time I'll no doubt reach 400 and then eventually 500. It depends on what you mean by that. Nothing explicit. Thank you. Also, I know that in time I'll get like regulars. By nothing explicit, I mean nothing. Oh yeah. Please keep it PG if you would. Bigger streamers, they can get away with cursing, but when you're smaller, YouTube doesn't really care about you. Oh, mostly personality. Personality's a must. You don't need to be quiet. You're not doing anything that you would need to be quiet for. I'm a very curious person. As I imagine that you are. And as a curious person, I think that people should, within reason, be able to ask anything they want. If they're curious about it, ask it. Again, so long as it is reasonable. Oh, trust me, I won't get into specifics here, but I've crossed lines when it comes to asking questions. You've not come even close to that. Yes, they do, but here's the thing. I know that people have different perspectives and realize that having a different perspective is not at all the same as being wrong or in the wrong. The only ones that are in the wrong are those who harm others in some way, shape, or form. And I don't have nice words for those people. You will never hear me say a nice thing about a certain fat man that is currently in charge of this country, or is supposed to be in charge of this country. A morbidly obese, dumb as rocks Neanderthal. So Charlie Kirk was obviously a sleaze, but he did not deserve what happened to him. He didn't. Like, the only time that should happen is if it's like self-defense. Using violence because somebody is speaking is never the way. And when he passed, it, kicked up a bit of a storm. But that being said, he didn't become the martyr that they thought he would become. Not even close. I mean, after he passed, Trump's just been going more downhill. Do I believe in God? That's hard to answer. Yeah, sorry about the sink being run in the background. I'm doing some dishes. Do I believe in God? Again, that's hard to answer. I've experienced and seen things. I was sorry about that, Gojo. I've seen things that make it pretty much impossible for me to not be open, to not believe that there's something out there. I don't know if I believe in God as he is depicted in the Bible and in other religions, but yeah, I've seen enough things happen to make me say, like, it's almost impossible for me to believe that there's not something out there. Why'd you hide him? Why'd you hide Gojo? Fresh. Did he say something wrong? You didn't have to hide his message. What was wrong with, let me see here. There's nothing wrong with him asking if I believe in God. It's a chill stream. I mean, we just got done talking about Trump and politics, so, Gojo, I apologize for that. If, you felt insulted by that. And I'm not trying to go off on you, by the way, bro. It's just, to me, like, that sort of question is not worthy of somebody being reprimanded. But that's me personally. So, yeah. Except my, okay, well, let me see the message. Oh, okay, yeah. But why was Gojo's hidden, and why is he not able to comment? That wasn't him that said it. It was Kaisen that said it. But yeah, please don't mention that here. I apologize, bro. I did not know what you were talking about. I'm sure we're cool. Again, not trying to act like I'm getting on you. All I'm gonna say, and don't say what actually happened, is, do you remember the ear thing with the guy who's currently in the highest office? Don't say what it actually was. But that fake thing, yeah, that. Yeah, don't actually say that or allude to it, because that's like that could have certain people come into my that could have this channel in trouble and um uh what do you mean by my Discord? Do you mean Discord server? Because oddly enough, I don't have one. I should make a new one for this channel as I get more subs. Or even right now. That might be a good idea. I should make a new Discord server for this rebranded channel. Uh and link it so that if you and Gojo want to join up and have Discord, you may certainly do so. Um but yeah, please don't talk about that ever again. Like, don't say certain words that have to do with harming certain people. Because I mean, I don't think you should do it in any like period of time, but especially not now. Heck, YouTube's flagged certain words, as I understand it, to where if you say those words, you can get a strike, or you can get flagged, which is a big part of why I don't talk about that stuff anymore. Because you notice how people have been saying unalive instead of another word. That sounds fine. That sounds reasonable. Um, yeah, like people saying unalive and people saying PDF instead of what they actually mean to say. It's so incredibly stupid that you can't say those words. Say the word, because unalive is not a word. At least I don't think it is. In all honesty, whoever comes in next needs to like go down on YouTube hard and be like, you better change those rules. You better get rid of that nonsense. Like, the first thing I want to see happen, one of the first things I want to see happen is Fox News get shut down. Get shut down. Like, sued up the wazoo. They need to be sued up, they need to be sued into oblivion. And all lose their jobs and, in my opinion, be arrested. Because they've probably broken some laws. But, like, heck, Seth is going to jail. Guaranteed, because all the horrible things he's been doing. Stephen Miller going to jail. Probably for life. Or at least like 20 years, if I had to guess. Vance is going to jail. You might not have done anything yet, but give him time. They're all going to be locked up. As well as probably the entirety of the Trump family. Heck, there was one guy I watched who said that he believes Barron is going to go to prison, and I'm like, wow. I did read your messages. No, you're not hidden. It's just there's a lot of questions, and you have asked. I feel like you have asked a question more than once, but it's all right. I hope to see you in the next stream. Who's Steph? I know who LeBron is. You mean LeBron James, the basketball player? Is Steph the name of a basketball player? Yeah, I'm just gonna say that I don't watch sports, so I'm sorry. I can't answer that. I just never got into them. Pop culture first 2000. Are you still here? Out of curiosity, wanted to make sure that things are cool and that I didn't make you feel insulted or anything. I could have worded that differently. Last thing you want to do is get in an argument with somebody who you've made a mod because you trust them. And we all make mistakes, which, you know. Well, I mean, he's not here on the stream, but yeah, I don't watch sports. Uh, I would, but in all honesty, there's not usually enough activity for mods to be needed. But I'll tell you what, if you're still here by the time I reach 400, I'll definitely make you a mod. I hope that's cool. I think you do seem trustworthy. It's just I don't really have a need for mods because as you see, there aren't really there aren't really that many people that show up here. If there were like 20 some messages and people spamming like crazy, then you'd be made a mod like right away. Like immediately. I appreciate that. I feel like you already subbed to me, but once again, if I hadn't said it already, thank you. I'll tell you this, and I hope that by saying this, I speak it into existence. If I ever manage to not just reach 1,000, but like reach 10,000 and then some, and like earn money through this, like let's say I actually managed to make it to 100,000 one day, then like well probably more than 100,000, then I'd probably like I'd probably share something. But who knows? I hope that by saying that I've spoken it into existence in my future 100,000 subs. Then I would truly be content. Although that being said, I'd be just as happy if I made it to 10,000. But man, could you imagine 100,000 subs? I don't care about a million because that seems completely unrealistic. But 100K, that is true. That is true. That's why I said it. You know what? I'm going to speak something else into existence. One day I will reach a million. one day I will be married. I do as well. I do as well. Just a second, people. I'm gonna check something. The stream might look a little frozen because I'm checking a message or something. But please hold tight. Oh, so do you do art? You draw? Is YouTube direct messaging still a thing? Because if so, shoot me a message. Uh, because I'd like to chat more about this in private. Mostly so it's a surprise for people. I want it to be like an unveiling. Um, and to also give you a link to well, yeah, shoot me a message if you can uh through YouTube direct messaging, because I'm pretty sure you can still do that. Heck, if I could bring it up. Wait, could I? I don't know. Yeah, like I said, shoot me a direct message on YouTube, a DM. If not, pop culture with Fresh 2000. I don't know if you're still hearing, if you're still like watching or hearing or whatever, but if you could provide, I don't know how you'd feel about this, about providing Gojo with a link to our server, or no, could you post? Wait, I don't think you can post my Discord name with all the numbers and whatnot. I was gonna ask you. I wanted to invite Gojo to the Discord server potentially, but that's also up to you because you're like the owner of it. Because he wants to uh mainly so that he can reach out to me personally through Discord. Um, and we can chat about the image that I want, because Gojo, I'm assuming you're he. If you're not, I apologize. Is talking about wanting to help me with that original image. Ah, okay. Well then, just try to direct message me on YouTube, or I could provide my email. Okay. Um, like I know what my Discord is, I just don't know what the numbers are. I'd have to quick check. Because don't you need that to send someone a request? Oh great, it happened. Oh great, it happened again. I went out of YouTube and now The chat's gone, and so too is everything else. Which means, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to end the stream. Unless it comes back somehow.